Welcome to another episode of Health Matters with PA extraordinaire Lynn Szabo. What are we going to talk about today, Lynn?
I'll settle for certified. Anyway, we're going to talk about Kratom, which is how it's pronounced, actually, according to Wikipedia. It's pronounced exactly like it's spelled, but the accent's on the second syllable. And
what is
Kratom? Kratom.
Kratom, okay.
It is an herbal product that comes from a tropical tree grown in East Asia.
Oh, okay, so it's a safe thing.
Yeah.
Because it's herbal.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
No.
No. Stay tuned. And it's used mostly to treat pain, but it's also used for opioid withdrawal. So that's also kind of part of the big pain
gotcha. So
picture.
it's safe like heroin is safe because it comes from poppies.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay,
Exactly.
sorry. I've never heard of this. I apologize.
It's pretty common in the people who feel like they have a need for it. But so the specific active chemical, and I'm going to slaughter this, is 7-hydroxymetragynine. And it's happily abbreviated 7-OH. So, but this is what I thought was cool. I didn't know this about it, but this particular chemical has an affinity with the mu opioid receptors in our brains. Okay?
I don't, what does that mean?
That means that it settles in there and mitigates pain signals within the brain.
Okay, so it's like a standard opioid does?
It's a little bit like Suboxone. It plugs up all the mu receptors.
Oh,
And
like
so,
all mood, like emotion.
no, mu. And that's the Greek letter, mu.
Okay, what does the Greek letter mu mean?
That's on a biochemical basis, like on the molecular basis, that's how we experience pain. Those are receptors in the brain that get stimulated by nerves. And if you can plug them and convince them that they're not available for input from the rest of the body, then, subjectively pain decreases.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it plugs them. So other examples of things that plug mu receptors are like methadone or hydrocodone or oxycodone, and then also like Suboxone. So it just plugs it up and it keeps the brain from knowing that there's pain. They probably can be overridden to a certain effect because it's only partial. But so it's like you couldn't like put your hand on a hot burner and not notice it. But for people that have like chronic pain issues, it can dull it.
Okay. So is that what it's being used for, is for chronic pain?
That's
I'm going to go with, since you're bringing it up, it's being abused.
Yeah, being
Gotcha.
abused for chronic pain. So it's not lawfully marketed in the United States
Oh.
per the FDA. But it seems to be readily available and easy to get online and at smoke and vape shops.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Like what could go wrong? Most people who get in trouble with it are men who are using it within their homes. Okay, so they're doing one of two things. They're either addressing a chronic pain need that they feel can't be addressed or is not being addressed in another way, or they're using it kind of in conjunction with, running out of their pain meds and being an opioid withdrawal.
Oh.
Or, maybe somebody who's using heroin recreational and has a problem with it and decides to quit it and has, withdrawal symptoms, that's to mitigate those.
So, oh, wow. So this is some serious stuff that's being put in as an herbal thing and sold at smoke shops.
Yeah. Or somebody wants to get high, because you can get high from
Well,
it.
yeah, just like you would abuse your pain medications and get high. Okay.
Totally. Or what I think that maybe is more productively looked at is using opioids to try and treat the pain of the soul.
Well, yeah, that's not going to work, though.
No, doesn't work.
It just works on the receptors in the brain, not the receptors of your spirit.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. super questionable safety because it's not FDA approved.
Right, and it's sold at smoke shops, so they want you to come back and get more and more. So God only
Right.
knows what they're putting into it to make you come back and get more and more.
Maybe, but also, how is it even derived? You know,
I
how
thought
is
you
it?
just said it was from a tree.
Right. So how are they doing that process? Or is it like 100% pure, or does it have trace elements?
Well, yeah, that's to give you
Yeah.
other things. The same way we
Right.
had tobacco is just
Yeah,
a leaf, but you
questionable
put
chemicals.
hundreds of chemicals in with tobacco to make
Right.
cigarettes and to make all tobacco
Right.
products more addictive.
And kind of the same reason why there's no such thing as organic pot. There was a chemist, actually, a young chemist, he was working with water quality in Humboldt County, but he had a side job for certifying pot as organic. He said he never found organic pot.
Jeez,
And he personally stopped smoking it
because of all the chemicals.
because what he was finding
Right,
in it.
marijuana well, maybe that's an episode too. Marijuana today is not what marijuana was
Right.
in the 60s and 70s or
Right.
in the 1930s when we did the whole Reefer Madness movies.
Right.
Right, it's not the same.
No, it's not the same. The other thing, too, is that they've actually found kratom to be contaminated with salmonella bacteria. Not really certain how that might happen, except oral fecal contamination comes to mind.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
So you're going to take that. That's, wow, you must really have an addiction if you're,
Yeah, it sounds like you're not thinking with your right mind.
no.
But those mu receptors are really convincing and annoying, and they're hard to shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Addiction is not a fun thing. I'm not,
Right.
I'll making light of that.
No, not at all. But if you have a certain problem with your mu receptors and substances, then more of it doesn't seem like a solution.
No.
And you never, speaking of more of it, you never really know how much you're taking because it's not standardized at all.
So you don't know how many milligrams of the actual
Yeah, you don't know what.
ingredient you're getting and how many addictive things that is being
Right.
added to something that's
Right.
already addictive.
Right.
Good Lord.
Or if they just threw stuff like Benadryl in it to make you just go home and go to sleep. You don't know. So the risks of it, taking it, like we've been talking about, are addiction. Psychosis apparently is a risk of taking it at high doses. Tremor.
Okay, explain psychosis for those who don't know exactly
So
what you mean by psychosis.
psychosis is kind of what you think about when you're down at Elk Valley Road and 101 and there's a guy standing there yelling at the sky. So it involves hallucinations, either auditory and or visual.
Wow.
And somebody is not in their right mind, is what my grandma would say. So I don't know whether the psychosis is permanent or if it wears off after a certain amount of time.
So it's kind of like the fentanyl bend, where
Right.
it'll wear off as and you don't know if it's going to wear off when the drug wears off.
Right. Or like somebody a couple years ago, there was some bad acid going around Humboldt County, and some people in a psychotic state from their acid tripping did some pretty catastrophic things to their bodies.
Yeah. Well, then we had that incident down in Klamath from various drugs.
Right.
I have another question really quick, and try to figure out how to phrase this. Is this from the actual herb, from the plant material, or is this from, I mean, because I made the reference to heroin earlier, and if somebody doesn't know the history of heroin,
Right.
it is derived from poppies, and then it was synthetically made as a painkiller by the Bayer Company.
Yeah.
And then they quickly realized, like, oh, this is incredibly addictive. But it was still derived from poppies. Do we know if the psychosis comes from the original ingredient, or it comes from the combination of stuff they're putting
I
with
think
it?
and this is a data-free zone, as we like to say.
Data-free zone.
Data-free zone. I think it probably has something to do with the original component, because it is being studied. We'll address this a little later in the talk, but it is being studied as possible treatment for depression. But so they know it has a psychoactive effect on the brain beyond the mu receptor. So
Okay.
they're trying to probably on
Right, because the poison's in the dose. Right, like we know if you microdose the ingredients in shrooms that you can help with PTSD, and if it controlled with therapists.
Right.
I'm not talking about doing it at home,
Right.
right? And we're talking one or two, and then it helps the person understand that those things
Right.
aren't still happening.
Right.
So the poison's in the dose. So I
Uh,
just
I don't know if poison's the best word. I guess what I'm saying is it could be refined to the point where there's a therapeutic use.
yes, I'm just mean that if you can take anything in excessive amounts and cause
Right.
great harm, and if
Right.
you do it
Yeah,
properly.
it's not dose dependent. It's something about the interaction between the chemical and the brain.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can cause tremor, another sign of an interaction between the chemical and the
In
brain.
the brain. Is
Yeah.
that because it's damaging things, or just
Yeah.
because it? Okay.
It probably overstimulating things. And you can overdose it because it's actually increases respiratory depression. And this
Because
was
it's an opioid
this
ish thing.
ish. This was interesting to me is that there's more respiratory depression with this drug than there is with methadone.
Oh wow.
And I think a certain part of it is that people are mixing it with other drugs.
And you could,
And a certain part is you don't really know what the dose is because it's
not
because
FDA
it's made
approved
by a
and controlled.
random guy somewhere.
Or random country somewhere that wants to make sure we screw up our youth and our young men especially.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
So why isn't this USDA controlled? Why isn't this
Yeah.
illegal, like a Schedule 1, like cocaine or heroin?
Actually, there was a proposal kind of just before 2020 I think it was like 2017, to make it a Schedule 1 drug and to control it like that. And there was public outroar about it and lots of anecdotal stories from people who, quote, air quotes, did their research, and somehow quietly it just kind of disappeared.
Good Lord. So this
Yeah.
is people with money swayed our government like they typically
I don't
do.
think it was people with money. There was a huge petition. It was public outcry. So
Yeah, there was
I
public
don't know.
outcry to remove fluoride from our water too, and look at the effects it's had on us.
Yeah, I
There's
look at them
always
every day.
Big
actually.
money everywhere in government anymore to get what it is that they want.
Right. So I want to go back to the respiratory depression. If it causes more of it than methadone, and I have seen people die from respiratory depression from overdosing methadone. So I'm wondering if emergently that respiratory depression, that means decreasing desire to breathe and therefore associated death, could be emergently managed with Narcan, because Narcan it kicks off the depressing agent out of the mu receptors and puts you into like immediate withdrawal.
Wow.
Yeah. So I would say if anybody comes upon somebody that looks like they might be a candidate for help with Narcan, there's no downside to using it. Just give
Okay.
it a try.
You know, I'll call Jermaine with RX Safe Del Norte here in the community
Yeah.
and see if I can bring her in for.
Brubaker would have insight
Yeah,
into
see if
that.
I can bring her in, and we'll just put that out as a community conversation and see what we
Right.
can learn there.
Yeah. So this drug has been associated with death, and the reason most people die, they think, is that it's mixed with drugs like benzodiazepams, which are the Valium, Xanax-like drugs, barbiturates, which is phenobarbital-like drugs, alcohol, which is beer-like drugs.
Beer, yeah, your bourbon, your whiskeys.
Yeah, and other opioids. So they mix it with opioids
Oh man.
because people get tolerant to it. So they need a higher
all
and higher
opioids?
dose. Yeah, all opioids, and this one too.
Oh my gosh.
So they get tolerant to it and need a higher and higher dose to get the desired effect. And then also going back to manufacturing, it's kind of a big gray zone of what you're actually getting.
By gray zone, you mean a data-free zone?
Yeah, well, I mean, the user is in a data-free zone.
The user's in the
Yeah.
dark with this.
You don't know if your supplier is giving you stuff that's got like just a trace of it in
By supplier, but if you can buy it legally, you're not getting it illegally. Your supplier is buying it at the store.
Right. Usually
So you
at a vape shop.
right, but it's still it's a retail establishment. You're buying it at a retail establishment, so your brain tells you that that has to be safe somehow. But it's not
It's not.
regulated.
No.
Nobody knows what's being in there.
It's
So
not
the
even-
manufacturer can
Some
put whatever they
a
want.
lot of states, it's not even technically to sell it. And
It's not what?
It's not technically to sell it in like your local tobacco store or your vape store. So people are buying it online and it's crossing state lines.
Okay. So but
Probably even international.
So you're
lines.
just trusting that it's being manufactured, so therefore it's safe. Oh my gosh.
Well, I think you're thinking like you want to get high, so it must be safe.
Right, but it's
Yeah.
sold at a store, so therefore
Right.
it has to be. It's manufactured by a company,
Right.
and then the government didn't make it illegal for any of these
Right.
reasons.
I don't think there's a lot of great thought put into it.
Wow.
And I would suspect since it really impairs people, it makes people feel high. And the feeling peaks about 1 hour after you dose it, and the high lasts about 160 minutes.
How long is 160 minute an hours? Yeah,
it's
you
about,
and your.
it's about let's say 2.5 hours.
So it's not even very long.
Right, that's the main part of the high, and then you probably have some effects. Some of my references said out to 5 hours.
So out to 5 hours, you could be wandering around yelling at cars on the 101, or
Right.
shaking, or wow.
But it's interesting how it's used in other counties. So Southeast Asia, especially Thailand, uses it kind of like coca is used in South America. It's used for pain control, but it's also used for boredom control. So if you happen to have a job, like you're in some factory somewhere and you're making Nike tennis shoes or something, again, a data-free comment, then, and you have to just get through a shift of like, with a quota of like 300 shoes or something, that's the way to get through it without, without psychic distress or psychological distress.
Okay, but it's just like little pieces and chewing it like it's a gum kind of a thing. It's not to.
Yeah, or capsules.
I'm not saying that it's still a safe thing to do, and we should bring
Right.
it here. And
Right.
and just for the record, for everybody listening, that was sarcasm and satire in your
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some religious rites,
Okay.
in Southeast Asia uses.
Is that kind of like you have peyote and I don't remember the other things that they have in different cultures.
Coca, like in the Andes, they used it during some of their religious, and you can find evidence of that. But it's also used, this was trippy, like a social thing. Like you go over to somebody's house, like if I went over to your house, neither of us are drinkers really, but
Yeah.
let's say we were more typically Del Norte, and you said, hey, you want a beer? Hey,
So
you want some Kratom?
Right, but it right, it's in the tea. But again, it's not concentrated and it's not put with a bunch of other chemicals. It's the thing. Like we used to put cocaine in. I mean, that's how Coke got its name.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how they monitor it within Southeast Asia. I don't know if you know a guy that has organic Kratom.
Well, if it grows in a tree, everybody could
Yeah.
know the guy who's in the house itself.
Yeah. And sometimes the quantity that people were buying stuff in was actual leaves.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
you
mean,
chew
if
the
you think
leaves.
about it, like if we grow specific leaves for tea,
Right.
we can take that and concentrate it down and have caffeine capsules and do all kinds of crazy things with it. It doesn't mean that the tea itself, if you just had brewed it for a few
Right.
minutes, wasn't enough to wake you up in the morning.
And so I suspect it isn't something that people should take and then drive or operate heavy machinery. It just has an important safety tip.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah, that should be obvious. Anyway,
logical.
so in the U.S. specifically, it's been on the rise since 2011 to 2017, and to me, that kind of corresponds with the height of the opioid crisis in the United States, and then the abrupt refusal of providers to provide these drugs to people.
Oh, okay.
And so I think people used it as a way to get off the opioids because some of those withdrawals were like, oh, yeah, sorry, it's gone. And
geez.
that's a little mean. And then it's common for people to overuse their opioids, especially in this community. So what they do is they get a month worth of opioids. They get told there's not going to be any early refill. They take them all in the first 2 weeks, and then they're in withdrawal.
Oh,
Yeah, and
that's
it's
no good.
2 more weeks. Super common. And they talk about it like it's, yeah, this is what the mean doctor's making me do. Anyway,
Dang.
it's been banned in another number of countries, although interesting, it's legal in Thailand for recreational use, so there's probably a cultural thing there.
Probably. There's
Yeah.
lots of things that are legal in Thailand, though.
I wonder what the risks are of our traveling with it, both in crossing state borders in the United States and then crossing international borders. I wonder if it's a bust.
Huh.
Just curious. And the FDA, like I said, did signal their intention to make it a Schedule 1 drug, actually, and it kind of quietly folded when there was a public backlash.
Yeah, I'm still going to go with there's big money funding the public outcry.
Yeah, so science lost that day.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But there's still some science going on about this drug. And like I said, there's preliminary testing going on to use this drug for treatment of mental health and chronic pain, but not much definitive. It's in early stages and not much that we know about it. So that's what I have on Kratom. And I know we got a couple more minutes, and I really wanted to talk about exciting things that are, but kind of probably confusing things that are going to happen at Teen Clinic.
Okay.
So last Tuesday was the last teen clinic on the CR campus that's immediately across the street from Del Norte High School.
Oh,
Yeah.
but it's not closing, so you're moving.
It's not closing, we're moving, and the move is complicated, which is why it's probably something that we should put out there. So what's happening is those buildings there are being torn down, and construction will probably, they were supposed to be temporary buildings. Somebody told me that they were put in like 40 years ago.
Temporary.
Yeah, temporary. So they're actually going to be bulldozed and hauled off somewhere, which makes me a little sad because Teen Clinic was a meaningful part of our youth community's resources. And
Yeah, and where you learn to do adulting things.
yeah. So what's happening is that eventually the Teen Clinic is going to move back to Two Trees. And Two Trees is, I guess, what adults call, but teenagers don't seem to connect with that name. Some district buildings that are, that are located, if you have your back to the front door of the Del Norte High School and you're looking across the way to CR, that's where the old Teen Clinic is. Where the new Teen Clinic is to the left. If you look to the left.
So across from like Bess Maxwell.
Kind of, yeah.
So over by the IMC or the
Yeah.
instructional something. It's the IMC.
Right.
Okay.
So kind of, there's an older building there. It looks like maybe it was somebody's house. It's a little crazy in the way it was built.
Okay.
But part of that is going to be counseling for
wow.
young people there that is associated with the district. And part of that is going to be Teen Clinic. It'll be a smaller clinic, but that building has been recently remodeled.
Okay.
It's a little weird in how it's structured for the Teen Clinic part because we share the waiting room with the counseling part. So that, I think, might bug some people for confidentiality, but please know we take your confidentiality seriously.
Absolutely.
And we can work around that. So there'll be like one room that it's an exam room and a provider office and probably a supply room. There's a bathroom there, so when we tell you the ubiquitous pee in the cup request will still be a thing. And my hope is we can expand a little bit on what we have there. Hopefully some grant money or something could be arranged so that we could offer more services. I'm still not going to turn away anybody who's like over 18 who needs help with birth control.
Okay.
So that's never going to be an issue with me as a provider there.
Okay.
And we still have the best condoms in town,
I was going to say, you still have condoms you're giving away, right?
including the glow-in-the-dark ones, which are super
Nice.
cool. So,
Everybody loves a glow-in-the-dark condom.
the problem is we can't go directly into the Two Trees site. And so for a while, Teen Clinic will be located at the mothership, is what I call it, the Del Norte Community Health Center, which is the health center on the corner of East Washington, probably just Washington at that point, and Northcrest Drive.
Yes.
And they anticipate, because we're waiting for state permitting and stuff like that, we anticipate it'll be about 4 or 5 weeks. So about 4 or 5 teen clinics will be in Del Norte Community Health Centers. And they're talking about a different entrance way so confidentiality can be maintained. Because the worst thing is to show up at a clinic like that and see that your best friend's auntie is the receptionist, you know.
Yeah.
So we're going to maintain confidentiality as per the teen's legal right.
Yep.
And then we're going to have a big, probably in the early part of the summer, a big blowout barbecue and, housewarming
Okay.
parties. And, hopefully there'll be advertising. I know I'll be talking about it on the air. And then also the Del Norte Facebook, Del Norte Community Health Center Facebook will probably have some information, and the Instagram, that's actually weirdly belongs to Open Door Clinic, mostly focuses on Humboldt County, but occasionally they shut me up and give me a couple of seconds of advertising on that. I'll be putting up flyers and stuff.
Okay.
So be on the lookout for changes happening at Teen Clinic. It'll be the same teen clinic that has served the teens of Del Norte County forever. I think I've been doing it for 7 years, and Melody Pope did it for about 3 years before.
Okay.
And then, but we're going to be at a different site, and not quickly, it's going to be an evolution to the different final home.
Okay. So it's not difficult to get to North Creston, Washington from the high school. You can walk. You walk down to Arts Barbecue, and you walk down to the little gas station on the corner there to get your little snacks and walk back. So you're just talking about crossing one street.
One big street.
Yeah, and hit the little button on the crosswalk and use the crosswalk, but
And
still
pay
look for
attention to
cars.
what it tells you.
Yes, but put your phone down when you're crossing the street and still watch for cars, because
Right.
they don't see you standing on the corner there
Right.
and you step out. So
Right.
you're still responsible for your safety when crossing the street. Just going to do
Right.
the little anti thing there. Okay, so that's amazing information. And then when it goes to Two Trees, it's still accessible from the high school, easily accessible. And we're talking, what, another 50 steps?
Yeah.
But this time you're going to go to your
maybe.
left.
Yeah, but the only confusion that I've had with telling the teens this was going to happen is you have to look to your left instead of straight ahead. If your back is to the front door of the high school, look to your left.
Look to your left,
Uh-huh.
which means if you're walking into Del Norte High School, look to your right, and it's right on the corner there.
Same funding, same state-only family planning, or family pact, or as like the teens like to call it, the teal card. It's all good still. It's all the same. And I'm going to be the provider there.
Okay.
So people familiar faces, and hopefully we'll have kind of a nice little gathering with some food and good cheer.
Right. Well, there's
Yeah.
always fun time when there's food involved. And
Yeah.
KFUG will absolutely be happy to help promote this and
Thank
get that
you.
information out there. Then I have a few more questions for you. With the teen clinic, again, you said if you're over 18, it's okay. Do you have to have copies of your insurance, for your parents' insurance, to go and be seen?
No, because you're not seen on, and most teens are not seen on their parents' insurance because they want their visit there to be confidential, and they
Gotcha.
don't want their parents getting bills about it.
So
And
the-
to have to explain something they weren't ready to talk to their parents about.
Okay. So if you don't provide what your insurance is the teen going to get that bill?
No, state-only family planning covers it.
So it's covered.
It's covered.
So you don't have to bring an insurance card
Right.
or anything else or provide an address to get a bill or.
No, like I told my girls, because their confidentiality was important to me, if they're asking you questions about insurance, just keep saying, I don't know. And, you do have the right in California to get free and confidential reproductive health coverage.
Nice.
Yeah. And probably the less you say to they're kind of trained for this. And kind of teens don't think through that part. They think I'm the nice lady they're providing this all for free. But there is state grant money, and people have the right to access free and confidential reproductive health care
Yeah.
in the state of California.
You are the nice lady providing it all for free. It doesn't matter
Right?
the data-free zone on the back end of that. You're the
Yeah.
nice lady providing it
Yeah.
for free. And Lynn, we appreciate all that you do in our community to make these things happen, to make them function and get the information out there. It's amazing. And I, for one, appreciate it as a coworker of yours and as a neighbor that you
Right.
do those things in our community.
Thank you. That's very kind. But it's also fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, I've noticed those things in life, that the things that we do that are that way, it's like, I'd do this anyway. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
All right, Lynn, do you know what we're going to talk about next week?
I might be ready to do my book report on stiff. We might get back into the realm of the morbid.
Okay.
And I haven't talked about embalming. And, there's also all the wonderful things that we know about the mRNA vaccines and what good things they do for us, and none of the bad things that were predicted actually happen. So they might have their moment in the sun. Who knows?
All right, so you're going to surprise us next week with stiff or mRNA vaccines. All right, well, those
Yeah.
will be great conversations. It looks like I've got some reading to do.
Yeah.
All right, Lynn, I'll see you next week.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.